Okay, do we want to go ahead and get started?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. We're so glad to see so many of you here and to see your interest in this great opportunity of knowledge building for leaders. I'm Amy Denny from the Georgia Department of Education. I'm the Director of Literacy, and we're really excited about the work of House Bill 538 and its ability to propel our state forward. And we're especially grateful for the opportunity to partner with the Rollins Center on ensuring that we have awesome opportunities for our districts to engage in this work and to be ready to lead the work and support teachers. And so we are going to get started right away, but I wanted to be sure and welcome you all. So thank you for being here. Samantha, would you? Thank you.
Okay, good morning. My name is Jacinta McCants, and I'm with the Rollins Center. And I'd like to go over the agenda for today so you kind of know what we're working on and what our purpose is and our goal for today's meeting. You will be able to meet the whole team today, and we're going to set the purpose and the vision and the mission for you for this work and go over the benefits to your organization, and then talk about the cohort structure and what that looks like. So hopefully you're ready for a little bit of fun today and engaging conversations. So before we begin, we always like to start with the why. And really, this is how we do introductions at the Rollins Center. So what we'd like you to do is tell us your name, the district you're representing, and what role you play in that district. And then really the why as to why you are on this journey to create literacy for your students. And I'll start with my why. I have 3 boys that are your typical boys, and they learn to read in different ways. So my first son needed structured literacy because he struggled as a struggling reader on the autism spectrum. So really working and digging and working with him to get him to be able to read was my first experience with becoming a reading teacher. My middle child came out the womb reading, so he didn't need any help. He was reading at the age of 3, and he was reading on a 4th grade level by 1st grade. So I think it just through osmosis, something, he just learned how to read and didn't need any help. So I kind of just coached him and facilitated his learning. And then my youngest struggled a little bit. He needed my intervention a little bit. So structured literacy helped him with a little bit of help, but he didn't need a lot of help. So my 3 boys are my why. Whenever I see students that are struggling, I see my oldest son. Whenever I see those that love to read and just really get into it, I see my middle son. And then when I see those who need a little bit of help, but have it, I see my youngest son. So that is my why. And we can use the chat, or you can come off of mute to do your introduction. You want to start with the Rollins team and Godot and start with your introduction?
Sure. I put mine in the chat, and okay. My why is simply that I believe with my whole heart that we have the tools to teach every child in Georgia to read and read well. We've just got to make sure that we're all pointed in the same direction and supporting each other to make that great work happen.
Wonderful. I love it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. I see a couple of in the chat. Ramona, you want to go ahead and go, and then?
Sure. I am on this journey because I firmly believe reading belongs to everyone. And through Cox Campus, we're able to break down the paywall, which is often a barrier for many.
Definitely. Love that. Okay, great. Samantha, would you like to go next?
There we go. Yes. So my name is Samantha. I'm with the Rollins Center. I'm our operations manager on Cox Campus. And my why is actually very similar to Jacinta's, it has to do with my daughters. So I have four, and just like Jacinta's kids, some of them are just like naturally excelled at reading, whereas I have some who really struggle. And seeing them in the schools using some of the systems that I know have been in place previously, I saw it just wasn't working for my kids. So, getting to be here and learn about structured literacy and systematic and explicit instruction, and then having the opportunity to be able to implement those things at home, I saw what a difference it made. So I'm just excited to share this with everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you, Samantha. Appreciate that. All right. And Sally.
Hi, I'm Sally. I'm also with the Rollins Center, and my why is very similar to a lot of the ones I see being put in the chat and that my teammates have shared. I'm also the mother of a struggling reader, and we were able to get him the help he needed. After a year of tutoring him myself, we decided we weren't working very well together and we needed professional help. And the tutor we took him to looked at me and said, Sally, if you were not his mother, he wouldn't be able to read anything. And I just don't think that's fair, that he had the opportunity to read when so many of his classmates are also struggling and did not. And like Ramona said, I'm just so grateful to be part of this team, to be able to bring structured literacy to all students and to every child in Georgia. So glad everybody's here today.
Wonderful. And yeah, I see a lot of responses in the chat that really focus on those struggling readers and really wanting to change that outcome. So I think we're all on the same page. If you'd like to take a moment and read through the chat at everyone, it looks like, yeah, it's very similar. Everybody's here for the right reason and to turn our children into readers. I love that. So welcome everyone. And again, my name is Jacinta McCants, and I am part of the Rollins Center team. And you can meet the team here. We have Amy Denty with the Georgia Department of Education. And we have Ramona Brown, who is our field implementation coordinator, and Sally Edwards, implementation coach, and Jacinta McCants, myself, is an implementation coach. So we are the faces that you will see during the meetings and working with you and really starting on this journey with you and continuing this journey with you. So again, welcome and thank you so much. And of course, if you have any questions or if you'd like to come off of mute, please do. Otherwise, we'll keep on moving through our presentation today. Thank you.
Good morning. Once again, I'm Ramona Brown, a field implementation coordinator at the Rollins Center. And we just wanted to acquaint you with Cox Campus, the Rollins Center, and the Atlanta Speech School. As you'll notice there, we go from deep impact at the Speech School by providing precise science-driven engagement and instruction based on the sciences of a healthy brain and language development, as well as literacy construction for students on campus. And by the way, we just celebrated 85 years of the Atlanta Speech School providing that deep impact. The Rollins Center serves as the educational equivalent of a teaching hospital. We try to broaden access to the sciences through on-the-ground support with coaching and systemic transformation. And then Cox Campus, as I spoke about as part of my why, is to have an even greater impact by not only reaching educators, but children, their families, and as well as healthcare providers, anyone that interacts with a child from 0 to 5. And so that way we're able to go from a deep impact to a broad reach. And next, I'll talk about our mission. So another reason why I'm a part of this work is because I believe in, and Rollins Center believes in, literacy and justice for all. And some of those components are that we think of literacy as more than reading and writing. It's a way to think critically about our world, and that by teaching structured literacy and the science of language, every child has the opportunity to get the skills that they need to think critically. And we also believe in an ecosystem approach. That means an environment that is rich to develop, that is rich and facilitates language and literacy development. And we believe that every child-facing adult should have the skills to assist children in developing that deep reading brain and challenge systems of oppression. So breaking down our mission, I won't read each point. However, if you just focus in on the central point, we cultivate expertise with educators, systems leaders, families, and advocates across the sciences of healthy brain development, language, and literacy, so that all children can think critically and act boldly to reshape the world. So that is a breakdown of what we believe, which is literacy and justice for all. Now I'll hand it over to Sally.
So we just wanted to kind of clarify the purpose of us all being here together today. The purpose of this knowledge building for you as leaders to build practical knowledge in the foundation of early literacy. We will do that through Cox Campus. We're also going to, as part of this work, set the foundation for transformative change and get within this group, cultivate a network of peer leaders so that you have a thought partner in this work as well. And so who should join? Educational leaders throughout Georgia and anywhere else nationally. Open to everybody. What you can expect is this is going to be fast paced. We're going to cover a lot of content in this first year. You're going to learn and go through all of the courses on Cox Campus in our structured literacy suite. You can see the outline of topics to the right. And then you'll join a virtual PLC where you'll discuss what you learned as part of these courses. And all of our sessions, our joint sessions, will be co-facilitated with members of the Rollins team and with Godot. So it'll be Amy will be here, but also other members of the Georgia Department of Education team. And we'll talk about our first course. Oh, no, before we do that, we'll let Amy talk a little bit about the benefits of joining this work. Oh, Sam, can you bump us to the next slide?
Thanks, Sam. So, of course, there are many, many benefits to engaging in this knowledge building cohort. One being preparation, and just to ensure that you as leaders are prepared in your district to meet and exceed the requirements of both Senate Bill 48 and House Bill 538. We all know that it's difficult to lead what you don't know. And so this opportunity will provide you the knowledge and skills to lead the structured literacy transformation in your district or in your school. It will also help to ensure that you're ready to take on that district-wide literacy transformation that happens July of 2025, according to House Bill 538. This is also an opportunity to, for no cost, to earn the ability to sit for the K. Perry exam. And we're excited about being able to offer that. I want to be careful about my language because certification in Georgia can be very confusing, but the opportunity to earn that endorsement from K. Perry, not from the Georgia Professional Standards Commission. That's probably the best way to say that. So there are many, many benefits. And what this does is it gives you a little bit of a head start before you start engaging with this learning with your teachers. And so we're excited about it. And I think now that maybe Sally is going to talk a little bit more about the time investment and exactly what we'll be learning in this cohort.
Absolutely. Slide. We have, we're estimating that this could take about 8 hours a month of your time, depending on the length of the course. Each of our courses in our structured literacy suite is about 2 to 4 hours, and you'll take one course a month. We'll also do about an hour and a half of a virtual session each month, and then there'll be some follow-up work for you to do in your schools. The first course that we're going to take on this journey is called Oral Language is the Foundation for Literacy, and I'll drop that link in the chat. I'm also going to drop the link to a course guide, which is a tool that you can use to guide yourself through the process, and that later on, when you do this work with your teachers, they can use as well. Our first PLC is going to be September 25th. And again, we'll be doing Oral Language as the Foundation for Literacy. So on the next slide, you'll kind of see what the structure of this is going to look like. We want you to complete the course prior to coming to the live sessions, the virtual sessions. And remember, that takes 2 to 4 hours. Oral Language is about 4. Then in that hour and a half long session, we're going to reflect on what we've learned. We're going to lean into implementation a little bit. We're going to share with you a walkthrough form that we've created that's specific to every course that we're going to take. And then we're going to link what you've learned to some real life scenarios where you can kind of think through barriers to practice and have these conversations with that peer network that we talked about a little bit earlier. And then your call to action at the end of each session would be to take that walkthrough form and look at what practices are currently happening in your district and what you might want to start, what you might want to stop, what you might want to continue, and then what you might need to change a little bit based on what you've learned in the course. And with that, that is really the end of our presentation, but we wanted to make sure that we left time for questions. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop your link in the chat or to come off of mute.
So Sally, there was a question from Candace Rentz about how is this different than letters training? What we pride ourselves in at the Rollins Center is the strength of the knowledge to practice model. So as Sally mentioned, we will provide a walkthrough form to help you assess your the current status of instruction based on a specific topic. And you will also have a community of practitioners in your peer network that where you're able to crowdsource solutions to problems of practice. And so it's very much about building, leveraging the strength across Georgia and nationally, because as we mentioned, the course is open nationally, to accelerate the resolution of problems of practice. So that's how it's very different. You're not just taking a course, taking a test, and then going on business as usual. We are providing an opportunity for you to critically assess your systems and structures in order to facilitate better literacy instruction.
And I'll speak to that a little bit because I know I recognize a lot of names on here as being part of the Office of Rural Education and Innovation's Literacy Initiative, which does have a letters component. I'm letters trained. I'm a trained letters facilitator. And so as I have made my way through the Cox Campus courses, I've just been very validated. I've been validated by what I already knew and what I was able to connect to and freshen things up. I will say that I think one of the big differences here is that we're starting with a cohort of leaders. And listen, I'm very well aware of the Letters for Administrators course, and nobody is knocking this. But this is really giving you as leaders a framework for leading the work and leading the conversations that are taking place in your district. And so even if you have been engaged in some letters training, I would encourage you to take a close look at joining us through this collaboration because it's going to ensure that you have some specific tools for driving the work forward in your schools. And y'all, I have a hard time monitoring the questions and talking at the same time, so I'm going to look over here on the other screen.
No worries. I
while,
got you.
while Amy does that, I'll just add that Cox Campus is free. So
Right.
you can take your teachers through these courses, and it will not cost you the money that it would cost to go through letters trained. I'm also letters trained, and I know that leading this work in a district, it was really hard to get the subs required for those full day professional developments with letters. And this offers you a little bit more flexibility. So that's another benefit.
Yes.
So
Can I ask a question?
I have a quick question.
Okay.
This is Felicia Sauls from Charlton County. I just wanted to clarify. So this particular training is specifically for leaders to prepare them with the knowledge base and understanding they need to go into the classroom and have about the literacy instruction that's happening in the classrooms. Is that correct?
Felicia,
oh, go ahead, Amy. I'm
sorry.
sorry.
It is correct. Your question is related to some of the other questions that are in the chat. These are the asynchronous content that you would engage in before those monthly collaboration sessions. That content is the same content that eventually your teachers will engage in or will be able to engage in.
Perfect. I thought.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. That's what I thought. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so, you know, there are different ways that you can do that. You can get a couple of modules ahead of your teachers and get your teachers started. You could engage with your leadership team for this year and get your teachers started next year. I mean, there are a lot of ways to look at it. And I do want to just keep saying that Godot is migrating in our partnership with Cox Campus and the Rollins Center. We will be migrating these modules over to Georgia Learns. They will exist in both places. They'll exist in the Cox Campus site, and they will also exist at the Georgia Learns site. That work is being done right now, and so we're not quite ready to be able to release that, but eventually, in pretty short order, you'll begin to start seeing those courses show up in Georgia Learns as well.
I have another question.
Okay, so one more. I'm sorry. I had one more question as well. So can your school leaders participate in the training also?
Definitely.
Alongside.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And so Felicia's question is mirrored in the chat here. Yes, these knowledge building cohorts are for school and district leaders. And Ramona and Sally and Jacinta, there was a question that I was not sure of the answer of that says, are people signed up for the knowledge building cohort based on being signed up for this informational session?
No.
That might be a question for Sam, but I do not think that is correct. I think you have to sign up for each session.
Yes, you do register for each session, but I'll show y'all real quick.
I am.
Once you make your Cox Campus account, all of these are listed.
I'm not on screen. They're just talking. Okay.
I think we've got somebody who's unmuted.
You would have had.
Here we go. I got them. So when you're on the Cox Campus website, y'all, if you hover over the Educators tab and you look here under Education Leaders, we have the year-long journey link here. And you can come down and see all of the different sessions. You can click to register. You can also find them under our events tab, where they're separated out in a very similar fashion. So all of these will be Zoom events, so you will need to register for them via Zoom, but we've tried to make it as easy as possible to find those links. Of course, if you ever have any issues, you can always contact us. We have a messaging feature available on the website. It doesn't always pop up for me because I'm an admin, but a little blue bubble will pop up here where you can send us a message, or you can reach out to us at info@coxcampus.org.
And I've answered several of the questions in the chat regarding whether or not people are here now and if they can get started immediately. The answer to both of those is yes. Yes, you can forward it to the leaders in your building and or district. And yes, anyone and everyone can get started on the first topic, oral language. Those courses are live and available at Cox Campus.
And I see another question in the chat. Just is the online course content the same as the teacher courses for K-3? Yes, and we recommend leaders going through the courses first so that you'll be prepared to support your teachers when they begin to go through.
And there was also a question about, should we wait for the courses to be in Georgia Learns before having teachers and school staff begin? That's not necessary. It is being placed in Georgia Learns as a means of convenience, but it's accessible through Cox Campus.
Y'all, I will say that, you know, part of this is that leaders will begin to engage in the learning before their teachers. So migrating the content from Cox Campus to Georgia Learns, it is about convenience, you know, so our teachers have sort of a one-stop shop. It will also eventually be a little bit about convenience for you when we get to that point where districts are having to certify training for their teachers. But I just have to remind everybody, this legislation was signed into law in April, and we are having to move really, really fast on some of this. And so I apologize that we don't have all clean answers right now, but I assure you we're working really hard on this right now. And so sometimes I was a curriculum director for 16 years, and so sometimes I put on my old curriculum director's hat when I'm talking in these meetings. And so if I were still a curriculum director, I would get my leaders started right now, and I would have them start oral language first, and I would put just a short pause on having my teachers get started right now to give my leaders time to get their feet wet. And then in a few weeks, your teachers you may be ready to get your teachers started right after that first collaboration session, and hopefully we'll have oral language in Georgia Learns by then. That's the goal. Yes, teachers do receive certificates of completion, and districts will have a record of those. Let's see, I'm seeing.
Okay, looks like in the chat, someone is asking, what time is the PLC meeting on September 25th?
Yes, Sally answered that from 10 to 11:30, and that will be the standing time for each one of the sessions.
Definitely. Another question was, is this meeting available? Like, will they get the slide deck for this meeting? I think that was earlier in the chat.
Sam, can we make that the slide deck available to all of these?
Absolutely. Typically after a session like this, and this will remain true for all of the sessions that we do for this year, we send out the link to the recorded session as well as a PDF of the PowerPoint that was used. So y'all can expect to receive that after each session.
Great.
April asked a
Don't
good
forget to-
question. Oh,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. April asked a good question in the chat. She said, are these sessions geared toward 3rd through 5th? So our content is geared toward kindergarten through 3rd grade because we know the implications of 3rd grade literacy. However, when we talk about this work, we really say, you know, kindergarten through literacy until our children are able to read. And in many of these courses, teachers, I know one of the districts that I've supported is doing this work all the way up through 5th grade because they know they have children who need this type of support. And our courses are also certain courses more so than others. Even if a child is literate and is reading on grade level, there are activities and things that they can do with their students in these courses as well.
I was going to mirror that same answer, Sally. While the language says kindergarten through 3rd grade, we know that those 4th and 5th grade teachers who are encountering struggling students can benefit from this instruction as well.
Last question that I'll lift is there an alternate assignment if someone is unable to attend the live session? They would be able to use the Cox Campus course, the course guide, and the same walkthrough tool. Okay.
And I see another question, I think I've seen 2 that ask this, that says, will letters training that some teachers are currently in certify them for the House bill, or will they also have to complete these modules? We are working right now at the Department of Education to develop a list of other approved trainings. That list is not complete yet or fully developed yet. And so that list will be coming out. But it's just not ready yet. Again, I just ask y'all to be patient with us. I promise you, we're working furiously to be able to give you more solid, concrete answers on those questions.
This question might also be for you, Amy. Will there be an announcement soon on a tentative timeline when PL will be available for K-3 teachers as a part of the Early Learning Act?
Yes, and just to be clear, the Department of Education has contracted with the Rollins Center and Cox Campus. Cox Campus kindergarten through 3rd grade structured literacy is going to be the free program, the free professional learning that is provided by the state. That does not mean that there won't be other professional learnings that are accepted, but this is going to be the state's free professional learning for structured literacy as required by House Bill 538. In the next few weeks, we will have a list of other approved programs that will also certify your teachers for the requirements of House Bill 538.
Hey, Amy, you might want to hold off on this question. And I think that would be great if we were going to have another meeting to talk about later down the road. How are we going to get all the teachers in the state of Georgia to use this amazing free learning? But are we envisioning, again, tell me to hold off if it's premature, that if teachers were going to use this professional learning, that they would also attend live Zoom sessions, maybe outside of the school day. So they do the learning and then they would engage in some kind of collaborative learning like we're going to do throughout this year. Would it be a similar kind of model in future years for Georgia teachers?
Well, so this may be a little bit premature, and so I'm just going to tell you my vision for this.
Okay,
my vision for this is that leaders would engage in this knowledge building cohort so that they can take their teachers through that same kind of collaborative And so essentially, the Rollins Center and Godot are providing a model for
Yeah.
leaders to use as they take their teachers through this really important work.
That's
so
great.
that we make sure that it's not just learning in the asynchronous computer module. That's a great way to learn, but we've got to make sure that we have that bridge to practice and that it actually happens in the classroom. And
That's wonderful.
yeah, so that is how I visualize it. And I think that that makes great sense as a plan.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, I am doing one last check. I hope we've answered everything. I don't see anything in the chat that we haven't, but I was answering quickly. So,
And yes, and I was also answering in writing in the chat. So I think we're covered. If not, if we did not answer your question, certainly we want to give you the opportunity to unmute and ask your question. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us on this journey for important work to bring forth structured literacy the Georgia way. We appreciate your time, and we do have another information session at 3 p.m. this afternoon. So should there be leaders in your building that you would like to hear this information, please point them our way.